Hey, I'm Todd. Thanks for choosing to watch my video, and if you would subscribe it, like it, all that stuff, that'd be great. Otherwise, enjoy the video, and I hope it gives you the information you need and is helpful to you. Take care. 2007 Hyundai Santa Fe, doing the front brake pad replacement. We'll do front brake pads and rotors on this. You do want to usually replace your rotors or machine them, though not always if money's tight. If you don't feel any brake pedal pulsation, you could possibly just throw pads on it. But that's not how we do it, but that's an option, so you're aware. 19mm lug nuts, probably left to loosen, right to tighten, so left this way. So break them loose a turn or two and then jack up the vehicle. Support the vehicle, take the tire lug nuts off the rest of the way, and then we'll get to the brake caliper mounting, rotor in there. So I like to get in here usually and collapse the pistons most of the way, if not all the way if possible. Usually get in here between the rotor and the caliper a little bit. Oh, pretty tight though, actually. Oh, there's a spot. Get in here deep. And see how well the caliper slides. Really nice. So you push the caliper to the left and push this brake pad in like that. Collapse the pistons in this case. Try and get in the middle, collapse it even. We'll probably go up to the top where the master cylinder is, and we'll suck some of the brake fluid out so we don't spill over the top. And brake fluid isn't that good for paint, so there we go, nice and collapsed. Check the slides, real nice sliding. And yeah, got a couple of Phillips screws here holding the rotor on. We'll get to that, and probably 14mm bolts holding the caliper on. So you can probably take this bolt out here. We'll flip this up. You take the brake pads out, put new ones in, put it back down, bolt that in. You'd basically be done if you want to throw pads in it. These rotors don't feel too bad. So, but again, we machine them. Actually, we replace them, so that's how we'll be doing it. Proceeding here. Alright, so we got the caliper off. Pretty easy. Take the bolt out, flip it up. Pads just slide out of these grooves here. Pretty easy. Slide out. You can throw pads in if you want. Bolt it back down. So, but we're gonna continue on. $17mm bolts. Take those out here. Remove the caliper mounting bracket, and then we'll take the rotor off with get those Phillips screws out of there. Here's the basic tools for the job. We're going to be using the impact driver here, it's called, with a Phillips bit to get the screws out of the rotor area. 17mm sockets, wrench, screwdriver for collapsing. Then we got our air tools here, 21mm socket, 3/8 drive, 1/2-inch drive, guns to make things go faster. Basic tools should allow you to do this job. So we're going to get these Phillips screws out. They don't often turn out by hand, so I get an impact driver. I'm going to put it in there and kind of turn it counterclockwise and hammer on it. Ooh, that's not too bad. Ooh. And just like that, they're coming loose. Looks like we'll need an open-end wrench for this one possibly because of the bolt here, so we'll just take this bolt out and get this bracket off. So you need to clean these metal pieces up really well. Clean them up or replace them. We got new ones. pretty easy. See, this can snap in place. Not too much to it. So, like I said, clean them up or replace them if you get these with your new brake pads, which we did. And pull this out and maybe lubricate it. You saw they worked really well, but we'll throw a little extra lube on them. Rubber bushing on this one, on the bottom. No rubber bushing on the top one. So we'll throw some brake caliper lubricant on that, and we can slide our rotor off. Or if you need to, tap it on the back with a hammer. Good old-fashioned rust. Boom, and it slides off. And we can slide our new one on and bolt it on. Slide into place real nice, and we got our pistons collapsed already. If you couldn't collapse them all the way, you can use a large channel locks or a C-clamp. Just put an old brake pad in here and squeeze it in the middle so they collapse evenly. But we're good to go here. And we can just slide this back on, put a little lubricant on there, and drop it down into place. Put our 14mm bolt in here. Start all bolts by hand before you put a wrench on them. We'll tighten that up, and I'll give you torque specs, and that's about it. We'll pump the brakes a few times to set the brake pad. Of course, we'll do the other side, and then we'll go to the master cylinder and make sure it's topped off as needed. Alright, we're going with about 65 foot-pounds for the caliper mounting bolt, and then about 20 foot-pounds for the littler bolts here, and then about 80 foot-pounds for here. I think the range is 65 to 80, but I go ahead and go to 80. All these seem to have about a 10 foot-pound range, so not very specific, but we'll tighten those up, put the wheel on again, and back to the master cylinder. So here I am doing the other side. There's a bit of a rust buildup on this one. Didn't slide quite as easy, but go ahead and clean this up with some emery cloth, some sandpaper, something. Wire wheel if you got it. Probably can make it work just fine. So clean it up real nice. A little some lubricant on there, and should probably just work fine. You can clean the hole out on the caliper. So sandpaper, maybe a little drill bit, run it in there a little bit, and it should be fine. So there's the brake master cylinder, little cap. It kind of screws on and off. Pretty basic. Got a maximum and minimum. So of course you want to make sure it's above the minimum. You got a turkey baster or a clean rag. When you collapse the pistons, fluid's going to come up, so maybe absorb it or suck it out a little bit. There's a screen in there. Keep debris out, so you won't be able to get all the way in there, but at least keep it from overflowing. So just pump the brake pedal a few times to set the calipers and everything, and then you can add or subtract some fluid as needed. Get it close to the max, I guess, and that would be good to go. Maybe test drive it before you give it away. But I think that's everything for your front brake pads and front brake rotors on your 2007 and other model years Hyundai Santa Fe. If it looks like this, this video will probably work for you. Hopefully you've watched it all the way through. And I do recommend also collapsing both pistons and making the slides all work on both sides before you get too excited about doing your brake job, because you could do one side, it'd be fine, the other side the caliper's not going to move, and then you're frustrated. So take a few minutes, get both sides up in the air somehow, and collapse your pistons and check your slides, and that'll help you decide what parts you need. So good luck on your brake job.